Have you ever asked yourself, why does everyone else seem so confident except me? It seems so easy for everybody else. Well, it's just not true. So in this video, we're going to debunk the myth that confidence is something that should be innate in you. And we're going to go over some tips and tricks as to how you can start building your confidence today. We've all been there. You hesitate to speak up. Speak up in a group setting. Speak up in work. Speak up in social settings with friends. You freeze when you really want to put yourself out there and shine because you're afraid that people will think badly of you. You're afraid that people will judge you. I was there myself. I was there plenty of times. I would hesitate to speak because I thought that what I had to say, first of all, was not important. I thought that it would sound weird, whatever it was that was going to come out of my mouth, and the nerves would get the better of me. I even had physical insecurities where I felt like I looked so tired and I had these like gigantic bags under my eyes that's all people would focus on. So, I mean, it was just layer after layer of all these reasons why I couldn't fully be myself in a group setting or even sometimes one-on-one with people. What did I learn over many years of dealing with this and many years of dealing with people is that most people are so wrapped up in themselves. They are not even thinking about you, thinking about what you're saying, thinking about how you're looking, because they're directing that attention to themselves. And even people who come off really confident, that you think, oh, they really have it all together. Even they struggle with the same fears and confidence issues that you do, that I do, because it's a human condition. You know, I've been listening to this podcast by Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins, The Magnificent Others, where he interviews all types of musicians, but like really, really successful musicians. And one of the common threads I've noticed is that even at the peak of their success, they had no idea how successful they were. They were still doubting themselves, still comparing themselves to other lead singers and other guitarists and on and on. And these guys are now like 70 years old. And it took like this long in their lives to realize, oh my God, I was at the pinnacle of my success. I was, a #1 record seller in the whole world. But at the time, they did not know that because that's the way the mind works. And my point in saying this is that you're never alone when you struggle with confidence or when you think that what you have to say isn't important. It's just a human condition. Research shows that 85% of people have experienced doubt and confidence issues at some point in their lives. And there's a recent study done where they gathered 2,000 people, had them take surveys, and on average among them, they experienced self-doubt up to 5 times a day. So you are not alone in this. So confidence starts off like a seed in all of us. It just starts off as a tiny seed. And it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter what stage you are in your life, a seed is a seed. Some people are lucky enough to have confidence built into them from they were children. Some of us, not so much. Okay? And it doesn't matter what starting point you're at. What matters is that you become aware of the seed that you have within you. And once you are aware of that seed, then it's time to start nurturing the seed, right? You nurture it with positive self-talk. You nurture it with action steps. You nurture it with gratitude. Instead of pumping out negativity, you become grateful for things that you have in your life. The thing about having confidence issues, right? It's fear-based. It's important to keep in mind what courage is. I'm sure most of you know this, but courage is taking the action despite having the fear. And that's how you build up confidence. That's how the most seemingly confident people in the world show up, even though they still have the fear. And that's a great way for you to start building confidence in yourself. Say, okay, I'm fearful about this, but I know that I'm courageous enough to take the step anyway. So let's get into some of the ways as to how you can start building your confidence today. One of the foundational things that you can start doing is becoming aware of your body language. Do you make eye contact with people? Do you slouch when you sit or stand? I want you to pay attention to those things. And it's really important that when you're speaking to somebody that you make eye contact, because that is one of the main signs of confidence that we see in each other. And again, even though you might not feel like doing it or it might feel fearful to do it, give it a shot. And I want you to stand with your shoulders back. Okay, stand with really good posture, because this is another sign of confidence. And oftentimes when you cue the body to be confident, all of a sudden you start thinking like a confident person. Tip number 2, become conscious of the self-talk that's going around in your head. We all have it. We all have that little voice that likes to put us down and likes to say, wait, you're not good enough. Or, are you really up for this? But the truth is that's just survival mechanism. It's old wiring that we don't need anymore. So in order to stay on top of that, it's important to try to be mindful about what we're actually thinking. And when you start catching yourself thinking negative thoughts and doubting yourself, that's when you have a wonderful opportunity to stop and say, wait a minute, no, and reverse the thought. Instead of, are you sure you can do this? I can do this. Are you sure you're up for this? Are you sure you're capable of doing this? I am well capable of doing this. And just those words alone, just changing the negative words to the positive words, lifts up your vibration, lifts up your frequency, and puts you in a much more confident state. This is where your courage comes in. Step number 3, take action steps. And you don't have to start off by moving a mountain. You don't have to start off by doing a TED Talk, okay? You just have to practice speaking to, say, someone or a group of people that you want to and have been wanting to speak to, but you've been putting it off. Or even if it's not a speaking opportunity, showing up to something, creating something that you've been wanting to create. And you've been saying to yourself, I'm not good enough. Well, this is your opportunity to take the first step and create what you want to create. Speak to who you want to speak to. Write what you want to write. Whatever that is that your confidence has been holding you back from doing, I want you to start working on it. And I want you to just think of it as one step. And all you have to focus on is that one step. You don't have to focus on the end result. You don't have to focus on, well, who else do I have to talk to? And then what other project should I work on? And scratch all that. It's not relevant right now. The point of this is just to simplify and work on that first step. Because what are we doing when we do that? We're building a muscle. It's like going to the gym. You start off with no muscles, okay? You go to the gym, you do one session. You don't do 30 sessions in like one day. It takes weeks and months and years to get to the point where you are like ultimately satisfied with your body and how you want it to look and feel. It's the same thing with confidence. That's not going to happen overnight. So take those expectations out of your mind, take the future out of your mind, and just focus on the task at hand, right? Because that's going to relieve your stress, relieve the pressure. And what we call in coaching testing out, well, that's what you're doing. You're testing it out and see how it feels to speak to that person, see how it feels to start that project, see how it feels to maybe post a YouTube video that you've been putting off or post something to SoundCloud that you've been putting off. Like I said, it doesn't matter what it is. We all have that something that we're hesitant to take action on. And then the more that you do these little baby steps, then the easier it gets and the bigger your confidence gets, the bigger that muscle gets. And all of a sudden, your confidence went from like here to here. And once you keep doing that, it's only going to keep going from there. Because once you've built a certain amount of confidence, no one can take that away from you. Step number 4, when you start taking these action steps, these confident boosting action steps, I want you to lean into the discomfort. I want you to name your feelings. So if you're feeling stressed and you're feeling anxious, whatever it may be, instead of trying to shove it away or letting it take you over, I want you to name those feelings. Because once you name the feelings, they become powerless. It separates them from you. So that's going to help you to actually like take these action steps and separate from the fear and keep moving. So all the things I just shared with you are things that worked for me in gaining the confidence that I have today. It took some time, but it was so worth it. Because here I am working as a life coach, speaking in front of groups of people, and I have no problem doing it. Could I have done this 5 years ago, 10 years ago? No, I couldn't have. But I kept plugging away and taking action despite the fear. And you guys can too. Ultimately, confidence leads to your success. Okay, so if you gauge how much confidence you have in yourself, that'll give you a good idea of how much success you're going to have in your life and how likely you are to reach all the goals that you want to reach in your life and all the goals that you deserve to reach in your life. We were all put here for a reason, but it takes confidence to actually fulfill the roles that we're here to serve. So I really encourage you to start taking action today. And if you feel like you need help with this, I offer one-on-one coaching. My website's in the description. You can certainly find all the information there. But I know that it can be a little easier to manage something like this with somebody else. But no matter what, I wish you the best with it. You can do this. I'll see you guys in the next one.